Just start over right now.
Well, the movie podcast. That's right, movie the podcast. It is horror movie October. A theme that is
My
it
favorite
might
theme.
be it's in the running. It's looking to unseat Sylvester Stallangeary. And we watched, I believe it was Sean's pick, Night of the
Yes,
Comet.
Sean's pick, Night of the Comet. This is a HBO staple. Sean,
It's like a lost movie.
yeah, Sean and I have talked about this phenomena a million times, but if you had HBO in the 90s or the late 80s, they played this movie like non-stop. I've seen this movie. I think I had this movie taped off of television way back in the day. But like Gog said, this is a cult classic. I think this is another one of these movies that's like not on. I don't think it ever made a Blu-ray release, or
I
if it
couldn't I
did,
couldn't I couldn't purchase it on Amazon. Like,
is that right? Yeah.
yeah, it's not. It's like your only options are like, well, it was either on the Plex or if it was on like the Roku channel.
Hmm.
It might just be in public domain, but there might not be any copyright associated with it.
I don't know if it's old enough for public domain, but
Well, or just no one's defended it and they're just like,
well,
yeah,
I
screw it.
there is a Shout Factory Blu-ray.
Okay, I bet it has a banging ass cover.
It does. I think
Yeah,
it's Shout Factory. This looks Shout Factory. No, this is just a regular ass MGM. Wow, good for them.
it starred somebody that was in another movie I watched this week,
Oh.
so that was fun for me.
I'm just gonna say this on Front Street. I was gonna wait until we actually started talking about the movie, but Night of the
Sure.
Comet is anime. Night of the Comet
You know
is
what?
American anime. This movie feels so much like an anime, like in tone, in the two main characters, in like how kind of silly it is. Like this feels like an 80s anime.
You know, that's an interesting way to put it because the vibes are over the top. Like
Oh,
it's like,
it's so silly. Like I love the movie, but like it's so like it's very much its own thing because you know I always see people say it's like a horror comedy, but it's more like a comedy. It's making fun of like 50s like sci-fi movies, like
I
more
think
than anything.
it's more akin to like a Big Trouble in Little China than it is
Yes.
anything else,
Yeah,
really. Like,
it's very silly and it's very like self-aware. Like
yeah,
I don't know, but we'll get into it. It's a fun movie. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about. Sean will be joining us here momentarily.
Hmm.
And Alec, I don't know, I guess he's getting ready for the Ravens game here in a little bit.
He's
So
getting ready
yeah,
for some football.
getting ready for some football.
A Monday night party.
Gogs, what did you watch this week?
I watched two films.
Two
Um,
films?
two things that I've seen, and I stuck with, spooky season, right?
Mhm.
Things I've seen. So two things. One thing I've seen a lot,
Okay.
and one thing I think I've only
Nude
seen
men.
maybe twice. Um,
Nude women.
no, I've only seen that once. Well,
That's what I'm
twice.
saying. Yeah,
I had two kids. So
but
it's not women, it's woman.
you were fully clothed when
Yeah.
the love
Well,
making happened.
yeah, CFNN. No, wait, no, that's the
Yeah.
other way around. Anyway, I watched, so actually the first movie I watched, it starred a guy that ends up in Night of the Comet. I watched, The Devil's Rejects. So, arguably the best movie Rob Zombie's ever made.
Oh, there's no argument. Wait, but who is in that from Night of the Comet?
So, the guy, part of the band, Roy, like
Oh,
the
okay.
band, the country folk band that gets like attacked early in the film.
Oh, no shit.
He's the lead scientist guy from Night of the Comet that's down in the bunker.
Ah, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I didn't
that
put that
character
together.
actor or whatever his
Yeah,
name
yeah.
might be.
Well, I mean, Rob
He's in a
Zombie.
bunch of stuff, but like, yeah. So,
Right. And he probably was in like other like B horror movies too,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
I had to guess.
He's got a very distinct voice. Like his voice is very nasal.
Yeah.
It's very his own. But anyway, he's got a look to him. He always looks like he's 100 years old.
Oh yeah. One of those guys.
But yeah, I mean, like, The Devil's Rejects still pretty good. Like, still holds up. Like, it's like, cause it's not soaked in fantasy bullshit and there's no like, it's just a Manson family movie, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Um, it's so interesting to me. It's not interesting to me. That's the wrong words. It's a good thing that Sherry Moon Zombie is hot and
Yeah.
that she married Rob Zombie. Otherwise, she has no reason to ever be on screen acting
Yeah,
because
she is
is
terrible.
she's the worst part of that movie. Like she's not good. And then you put her across from Sid Haig and Bill Moseley, who I think Bill Moseley is a tremendous actor. I think
I
he
mean,
is
he shines in that movie too. Like he's so good in that movie.
yeah, like he's great in it. And like I love Sid Haig and Ken is it Ken I always get his name wrong from
And Foray, Ken Foray.
Foray,
Yeah.
right? He's great in it. Like the cop whose name escapes me, William Forsythe.
Oh yeah.
He's good times in it. DDP's in it, right?
Yeah, DDP and Danny Trejo are in
And Danny
that.
Trejo are in it as like the gruesome twosome or whatever their nickname is.
Yeah. It's a fun movie.
It is.
We've talked about this a million times, but like it's so frustrating because that movie I felt like, okay, he's like turning a corner, right? Like he's found his voice. Like he's this like white trash Quentin Tarantino kind of thing.
Right.
And then it's just like, what happened? Like he just
Right.
fell off a cliff. Like I
He
don't.
didn't learn any like House of Thousand Corpses, fine. That was his first time out, fine. And then he makes this, and you're like, okay, like he's
Right,
got some
exactly.
thoughts on the matter. And then just everything, Lords of Salem and all
Ugh,
those other
so
movies, it's
bad.
just like, ugh. And the Halloween movies, like, come on, stop it.
Terrible.
So,
Absolutely terrible.
but the Devil's Reject still holds up. I mean, it's problematic as hell, but it's like,
Yeah,
and
but
so,
it's kind of like what we talked about with like Strange Darling, where like, I mean, I know it doesn't give it like a pass, but when you go for that like 70s grindhouse thing, like you're kind of expected.
you're inviting it, right?
It's like death metal, right? Like you're trying to be offensive. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's funny because somehow at work, somebody was asking me about some death metal band, and I'm like, I can't even tell you the titles of their songs. Like, I can't tell you what,
Yeah.
there's this new death metal band that I like called Falsey, and they literally have a song called "Fucked with a Broken Bottle," and it's just like, yeah, it's just offensive, right?
You just
Like,
can't say the names out
yeah,
loud.
I can't I can't defend that. It is what it is. It's just trying to be as offensive as humanly possible.
Right. And then I watched that, right? And so like I was talking about last week, I watched Terrifier 2, right?
Ugh,
And like
yeah,
the
I'm sorry.
violence in
Sorry about
Terrifier,
that.
like the violence in Terrifier 2 is just so goofy, right? And it's just like, what are we doing here? But then like the violence in The Devil's Rejects is, it's not as gory, but
Mhm.
it's more personal, intimate, realistic, and brutal. Like it's
Well, and
like,
it feels more, yeah, it feels
yeah,
more that you have more of an attachment to it.
like I'm
And
watching that.
that's why it's effective because you care about it.
Right. And I'm like, oh God, like this is like, ugh, it's awful. But it does its job, right? It does what it's supposed to do. And then the second movie I watched, did that even better. Um, so I said, you know what? I haven't watched because we're talking about Candyman and we're talking about like the
Sure.
pantheon of like what I would consider like our Hammer monsters, like your Freddy's and your Jasons and your Michael Myerses and your Pinheads and Candyman and all them. And I was like, you know what? I haven't gone back and revisited uh the original Texas Chainsaw in a
Oh my
very long
God.
time.
It's like my favorite movie.
So
So good.
I watched it again. That movie, I never gave it its proper due. I always thought that's a fun movie. It's good. It is
Oh, it's
real
amazing.
goddamn good.
Yeah,
And it
it's
is
funny.
effective in like the horror it's trying to convey. And it's brutal and terrifying and like,
And it feels real. Like it
it
feels
feels
like the
real.
way it's shot. I mean, the way it's shot, it almost feels like a documentary. Like not in the way of like a found footage way, but just like the way the film looks and like the just everything about that movie.
And it moves at a clip.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that movie just is like, it's like, and like the sound on that movie, the sound is just like, oh, it just sticks to your ribs. Like, I don't know. It is super goddamn good. So like, I guess shout out to, was it 1974? Was that it?
Yeah,
Like
I'm shocked I don't know this, but yeah,
whatever.
it was like 70 something.
And like,
But
so you would know this because I don't. Like, what else did Toby Hooper ever go to do? Did he ever make?
oh, he's done a ton of stuff, dude. He did. I mean, Creep Show is the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay,
Um, I mean, let's find his filmography. It's 74.
okay,
He made the Toolbox Murders, which not very good. He made
okay.
Poltergeist.
Oh, okay.
He made one of my favorite movies, Life Force. Have you ever seen that fucking
Yeah,
madness? With
yeah,
the naked chick that's like a vampire, but she's also like an alien.
yeah.
Of course, he made Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which I really like.
Yep.
Um, he's done a lot. He did a lot of films. And IMDb sucks now, by the way.
Yeah.
It is the worst. Like,
Like it's hard to navigate. Like how
yeah,
did
it's
movies hard to
terrible.
navigate?
Why can't I just fucking go to like his list of movies? You got to go to fucking IMDb or to Wikipedia now.
Terrible. I noticed that the other day. I was like trying to see something. It was giving me his
It's
bio. I was like,
terrible.
to just give me like, and I'm looking up a director. Don't give me all the times he starred in them. Don't make me
Yeah.
open other tabs.
So he made after Texas Chainsaw Massacre, he made another movie that I'm pretty sure you saw and talked about on the show called Eaten Alive. It's about that woman with the alligator.
I did not see that
Are you
movie.
sure? I mean, I could have sworn you talked about that movie. It's basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except the main character has an alligator.
Okay.
He made a movie called The Funhouse, which I've seen the poster for a million times. I've never actually seen. It had like a
Okay.
creepy like clown on the video cover.
Okay.
Never seen that. Poltergeist, Life Force, Invaders from Mars is another like whacked out canon movie. Which
Wait,
I
wait, wait,
highly
wait, wait. That Funhouse movie. I think I watched that the other week.
did you?
Like, yeah, it's like the seven. Like, it's about like, yeah. I think if it's got the creepy clown, I'm gonna look it up afterwards. But yeah, okay.
Invaders from Mars is like a crazy canon movie, which I highly recommend. Actually you know who co-wrote Invaders from Mars?
No,
Dan O'Bannon of Alien fame.
no kidding.
hmm Texas
No,
Chainsaw Massacre 2, something called Spontaneous Combustion, which I've never seen, but now immediately have to
I kind
go
of want to,
watch.
right? Yeah.
Night Terrors, I've never seen that. The Mangler, that was like a pretty decent 1995 horror movie. That's about that piece of machinery that's like alive that like eats people.
Oh, jeez. Is,
He
is he still with us? Is Toby Hooper still alive?
No, he passed away. He passed away. When did he die? He died in 2017. And
Well,
he was only 74. Then he made a movie called Crocodile. So I guess going back to his eaten alive roots.
there you
Then he
go.
made the Toolbox Murders. He made some movie called Mortuary that I never saw. And then his last movie was called Din or Jin, however you say that.
Chin.
I
About
actually heard that was pretty cool. I've never seen it though, but yeah, I mean, he went on to do quite a bit. I was always a fan. Like I said, he never really reached the heights of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but when you make Texas fucking Chainsaw Massacre, you know what I mean? Like that's
yeah,
a
it was
tough,
pretty.
that's a high watermark to hit. So
Yeah, I mean, you kind of like cemented yourself in the culture.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And I
but
mean,
it's
like Leatherface alone, like that's like such an iconic character. You know what I mean?
it's well shot. It's dreadful. The violence is terrifying and realistic and awful. And like it knows when to hang with it and knows when to
And
imply it.
the
Like,
victims seem real too. They don't seem, I mean, they don't seem like over the top, or they don't seem, then they also seem innocent, which is something that like a lot of later horror movies like kind of forgot about.
right.
Like one thing I hate about the Michael Bay remake is they're like running drugs or something. So like
Yeah.
inherently they're like, oh, they did something wrong. So now we get to kill them. Like, I don't know.
Oh, I did have a funny thought when I was watching it though. I was like, put yourself in Leatherface's shoes. He's just sitting around his house, and
Oh
these
yeah.
kids just keep coming into his house, and like he just keep killing. It's like, what are all these children doing here? Like he didn't lure them. He didn't ask for them to show up. Like,
The best death though is when he chainsaws poor Franklin in his fucking wheelchair.
oh yeah, that guy got it.
He got it real bad.
But yeah, like I was like, the violence is good. It's terrifying. It's horrific. And I guess I watched half of something else, then I realized I'd already seen it before, so I
What
stopped.
what was
I,
that?
I watched half of Green Inferno.
Oh God. Ugh.
I forget if that's Eli. Is that Eli Roth or is
It
it?
is. Yeah, it's Eli Roth.
That movie sucks.
Sucks. Yeah, like
Like that's
most
a
Eli
movie,
Roth movies.
but the acting in it's so bad and the characters are so unlikable. Like I'm rooting for them to not be here anymore. I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
like I don't
it's awful.
like
It's
talk
just
about like not caring about characters. Like stop it.
it's just a poor imitation of like Cannibal Holocaust, which
Yeah, it's
itself isn't
bad.
like a great movie, but like compared to Green Inferno, it's like ugh.
Like you're doing this, and you're just doing it bad for some reason. But anyway, that is everything I watched. You said you watched a ton of things?
I watched a few things. Yeah, I watched two things.
Two things.
I watched I watched a movie called Mads, Mads, Mads.
Was it an acronym?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, by the end of the movie, I don't understand the title unless it has some kind of meaning in French. It is a Shudder original.
Okay.
It is a zombie outbreak movie, but like kind of like the twist is that it's kind of like the like you're kind of witnessing like the epicenter of a zombie outbreak, right? Like so basically like patient zero on.
Okay.
And its other twist and what I kind of found like kind of they were hoping it was its saving grace, but I found it kind of tedious. It is a one shot movie. So it's another one of these
Oh,
movies where everything's done. It's one continuous shot. And honestly, like I felt like the one shotness kind of hamstrung the movie, and I felt like you could have done a lot more if you just shot it like a regular movie. Like I
what was the
understand.
conceit? That was it like handy cam? Was it like is
No,
there?
no. I mean,
Okay.
there was like handy cam shots, but like it was more like you followed one character and then something would happen that would take a couple of seconds, and that was probably so they could fucking put the camera down for a second, and then I mean it's all like it's not found footage, it's all, you know, like
Right.
regular like, you know, third person. What's up, Sean?
Sean.
What up?
I'm talking about a film I watched called Mads over the weekend.
Oh yeah,
Um,
the paprika thing.
hmm?
Wait,
Didn't
what?
you, didn't you say? Wasn't your review something like this is why you shouldn't like smoke
Yes,
paprika or
yes, I
something?
forgot. Yeah. So anyway, the movie,
Why do I know your lore better than you do?
because it's just like the show, man. I write something and I completely forget about it. I say something on the show, I completely forget about it after it's over. But no, like so again, this is a one take movie, one continuous shot, and I felt like you could do more without that. I felt like you could tell a lot more of the story without it. But it's so it starts out and you're basically with this like I don't know, like younger, like I don't know, like probably in their early 20s, like French kids, and they're all like drug addicts, and like so like it's never explicitly said what like causes the zombie outbreak. From what the trailer shows, it makes it seem like the fucking drugs they do in the beginning of the movie like cause it, but it doesn't really play into effect at all. Like they snort this weird looking shit that looks like paprika, but that doesn't really play in anything because like right after the opening scene, after he does the drugs, he's driving in his car and there's this like literally like Resident Evil patient that like pops up and she's like her tongue is ripped out and like she's got all these like bandages all over her and she's like acting weird and she has like, which is one of the clunkiest pieces of like how do we tell this story I've ever seen. She's holding in her hand this fucking recorder, and it's only funny because I know the exact recorder that she had. It's one of these fucking Zoom recorders. It's like the one that Vinny used to have. You remember the one with the little microphone?
Yeah.
She has this in her hand. I was like, I thought I almost turned the movie off here because like that shit is so stupid. Because again, this is, you know, one take. There's not a lot of time for exposition, obviously, because you're just with one character at a time. So this zombie patient or whatever, she's got a tape recorder in her hand, and he hits the tape recorder, and it's some doctor that's like, patient, patient reacted weird, us cutting her tongue out, patient, blood fucking smells bad or whatever. And it's like, why does she have this tape recorder in her fucking head with like the doctor's like, it's like an audio log from a video game. I was like, that's fucking corny. But anyway, the girl freaks out and like finds like a screwdriver in his fucking glove compartment and like stabs herself to death. But in the process gets like her blood all over him. So then he freaks out, drives home, tries to fucking cover up the body and all. Anyway, it continues to like, he ends up going, like, trying to cover up the body. He ends up going to this party, and then he, obviously, inevitably, like, infects other people. And it kind of goes from, like, one character to the next as, like, things progress. And it's like, in theory, that should be an interesting movie, but in practice, it's just kind of boring, because you've kind of seen this movie before. Like, and it tries...
Is it a legitimate oneer, or is it like a Birdman type deal where it's got edits in it somewhere?
Oh, it doesn't have edits, but it definitely has, like, I don't know. Have either one of you seen the movie Rope? The Hitchcock
Alfred
movie?
Hitchcock movie? Yeah.
Well, that's like a very famous example of like a one take movie.
But it's also like all in one room, if I remember correctly, right? Or no?
Basically, yeah. Okay. But even in Rope, there's times where like the camera, for like no discernible reason, turns to like one side of the room. You know what I mean? And this movie does that, right? Like when the zombie girl falls into his car, like the camera just moves to his door, and it's like, okay. And they do that a couple of times in this movie where it's like, I know what you're doing. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not clever. And like the best part of the movie is kind of also like, it's also the part of the movie where it kind of like, I wish this wasn't like a one take movie, because I like this idea. It actually like made me think like, so anyway, I'm scatterbrained. The part of the movie that I liked the most was when they finally get to the city and you realize that like the outbreak is more widestream or it's gone out further, and there's just these death squads coming after him trying to contain and just killing everybody. And then I was like, wouldn't it be cool just to have a movie about the kill squads? Like a fucking Raccoon City type thing. That's a cool idea anyway.
That hasn't been a thing yet, has it?
I don't think so.
Like the Raid, but they're storming the Umbrella Corporation type deal.
Well, I think they kind of tried
but they're like storming like Raccoon City after, and like maybe they don't even know that there's a zombie outbreak, but they're just told to like kill people. Like that's kind of an interesting concept. I don't know.
They were zombies?
Killed zombie flavor.
We gotta work on that one, because I was like, that's the movie.
I don't hate that. Then they find out they're zombies at the end.
It's not a bad idea.
Thank God
they
got
killed
the
them all.
Yeah. Like, I kind of like that. But anyway, the most interesting part of the movie is when these kill squads come after him, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, that's kind of interesting. And like, I will say the few little wrinkles that I thought were kind of cool that I haven't really seen in a zombie movie. These zombies are, they are attracted to light, which I was like, that's kind of a new wrinkle. I was like, and also like they kind of allude to the fact that they're like, their transformation is spurned on by light. Like they're almost like epileptic zombies. I don't know. There was like sprinkles of like interesting ideas in here left, but like overall, I just felt like the movie was kind of flat. I didn't hate my time with it, but I didn't love it either. I mean, it is short too, which is nice, but overall, like I thought that the camera work and stuff, especially in the beginning, because a lot of the movie takes place at like a party, I felt like this guy was trying really hard to be Gaspar Noé. Like, it felt like this guy was like, I've seen Climax, I've seen Irreversible, I'm gonna make my Gaspar Noé zombie movie, and he's just not up to snuff. Like, again, Gaspar Noé didn't do shit in one take, you know what I mean? Like, he had to, especially in like something like Irreversible, like he built like that entire camera rig to do all the weird like 360 shit and all that.
But
like,
I don't think besides like maybe a Run Lola Run type movie where that it's just the whole movie's propulsed forward. I don't think a one take benefits any story. I can't imagine a story in which
yeah. I had this conversation with Anthony earlier today. I think Birdman actually does very well with the one take thing.
Was it 1877? What's the 1918? Where was the World War I movie?
Yeah,
I thought that
I never saw it.
Worked with that.
Oh, I like that a lot. Yeah, I thought that was really good. I can't remember.
Yeah, if there's no like narrative reason, I guess it's just because you want to be there the whole time in real time, but I can't.
Well, and that's what this was. I can tell you that's what this was trying to do because again, this is a very like low stakes, like low, you know what I mean? Like you're with these people right away. There was a good, I feel like this is one of those movies that I really liked, but I feel like nobody saw it. There was a movie a couple years ago, more than a couple years ago, probably called Victoria that I really liked. If anybody wants to go watch that, I think it's still on Netflix, but that was a cool, like, one take movie. But yeah, overall, I agree. Like, it's too much of a gimmick. And I feel like in this case, like, I think that it was just one take because they didn't really have much else. And they were just like, well, if we do it in one take, then people just talk about how, you know, how hard it must have been to set up all these shots. That's like,
We made a bad movie the hardest way possible.
well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say this movie was bad. I just didn't think it was great. I just thought it was kind of boring.
It's like if the Carolina Panthers decided to start running the option, like
Right,
fucking
right.
Army. It's
No,
like,
have
we're
you
a
seen?
bad team
I
in
don't.
the most difficult way possible.
I don't know why I thought of this, but Sean, have you seen that college offense that they're calling it the slow mesh? Where
Yeah,
like
I know what that
not
is.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
It's not Vanderbilt. Who is it? It's is it Wake?
it's something
Wait,
like
I
that, and they
think.
basically
It's
just
Wake,
like
I do.
walk, and then they hand off the
Yeah.
ball as they're like not in motion. It's like the weirdest
they
thing I've
have-
ever seen.
They have slow mesh RPOs. This is new though, where it's like, and without getting too delved into football, like the Mike linebacker just has to kind of guess what's going
Yeah,
on.
yeah,
So there's a
it's
50%
really-
chance the play gets blown the fuck up and 50% chance it goes for 60 yards. It's a college offense is exciting as shit. Like
Yeah,
look at
'cause
the
it's
service
super
catches
weird.
right now. Anyway,
Yeah.
shout out to college football.
Yeah, heads up college football. Hey, the Victoria came out in 2015, so it was more than a few years ago. But I recommend it. I enjoyed that movie a lot. The other thing that I watched, so yeah, Mads, I don't know, watch it, don't watch it. It's on Shudder. Again, it's not the worst time. I just didn't love it. The other thing I watched,
Is it brand new? Is it a 2024?
brand new 2024. Look up the poster for Mads because that's what got me to watch it. The poster is fucking amazing. Like, and I saw the poster and I thought the poster was great. And then I watched the trailer and the trailer's really good. And I was like, shit, I gotta watch this. And
That's how they get you.
I also watched a movie that I liked, but I had a Gogs moment with this movie where a lot of people that whose opinion I really like were like, this is like one of the best movies of the year, and this is a sleeper, and da 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 da, and this is gonna leave your jaw on the floor. And I liked it. But it left once the movie was over, I was like, I don't think I got this movie. Like, I don't understand. I don't think, well, I felt like I missed something because like I enjoyed it, but I felt like by the end, I felt like kind of conflicted as to what the point of the movie was. So I watched it. The movie in question is called Red Rooms. It's a French Canadian movie. So 2 strikes there.
Ew.
Worst kind of Canadians.
It is a movie about, parasocial relationships, basically. It's also about like the whole like true crime culture that people have, like how these people are like, you know how these, you hear stories all the time nowadays of these women, specifically women. The 2 main characters in this movie are women, but they are like, like they start these Facebook groups trying to solve these murders, or they're following all this true crime and all this stuff. And it's a very weird phenomenon, right? And this movie kind of tackles that. So this movie is about, there's this killer that's on trial, and he was like a hostile kind of killer, right? Like he killed these 3 girls.
Most killings are hostile.
No, hostile like the movie Hostile.
Fair
Like,
enough.
remember how that was like you killed for like the highest bidder, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's what I meant by that. Clumsy analogy. I apologize.
My joke landed flat. Don't worry about it. Go ahead.
I actually laughed, but my phone was muted.
But anyway, so what happens is he killed these 3 girls. Well, he's on trial for killing these 3 girls, and he did it in these red rooms. So basically, he broadcast these murders live on the dark web, right?
Ooh.
And it is a like national story, and it's a big.
Is it? Hey, real quick, just by
Sure.
the name and the premise, is it somehow like kind of? Do you remember the Ed Piskor comic Red Room, where it was like a bunch of people killing people on the dark web live streamed for Bitcoin?
I mean, that is specifically what it is. I mean, that's what he did. Yeah, I think I think that I don't know this for a fact, but I think Red Rooms is like one of those like urban myths that may or may not be true. It's, you know what I mean?
Gotcha. Like the female orgasm.
Well, that's just not true.
That's patently not true.
That is.
We need to stop. We need to nip that in the bud.
I mean, at this point in my life, someone would have had one by now. I mean, the law of averages.
Statistically, it's like playing
out of 3 people, one of them.
Yeah, they would have had one out of spite.
The 4 times that I've had sex. But no, I think Red Rooms. It's one of those things where it's like, if they may actually exist, but it's definitely something that's been talked about. But I could be wrong on that. I don't know.
What was the Jennifer Lawrence movie that was supposed to be like
Red Sparrow?
Red Sparrow.
That's what. Okay, that was like
she basically played Black
Widow thing.
Yeah,
okay, go
that
ahead.
movie was not great. But anyway, so this guy is on trial for these murders, and there's this the main character, and she goes to the trial every day, and you can tell there's just something kind of like off about her. And she is like, you can tell, again, the movie is like very quiet. There is dialogue, but it's very visual. It's very, very quiet, tense movie. But she goes to the trial every day, and you find out that like she basically, to quote a Seanism, she's got a little bit of a hat on a hat situation going on, because she is a model. She is a world-class poker player. She plays like poker online to get Bitcoin. And she is a hacker. Like, she is like maybe not a hacker is not the right word, but she is very, very capable on a computer. You know what I mean? Like, she's very advanced at like computer stuff.
I think she's kind of a Mary Sue. She just sort of like.
I mean, not really, because like it doesn't. By the end of the movie, I was like, well, why did she need to be all 3 of those things? And I think I get why, but at the same time, it's a little much. Like, you could have taken out one of those things. But anyway, the movie is interesting because, again, it deals with like how we obsess over these horrific crimes, and then like basically this woman like obsesses to the point where like it's her entire life. And I don't want to give anything away, but like by the end of the movie, I'm not really sure what it wants me to take away from it. And specifically, there was a review I read that said that there was a scene that is the most jaw-dropping scene they've seen in a film this year. And I, for the life of me, could not figure out what scene they're talking about, because first of all, this movie is not violent, like, at all. All of the violence that they talk about, and they do talk about a lot of violence and horrific shit, it's all just that. They just talk about it. There is like a tiny little glimpse of like one of the actual videos that the guy made to kill the girl, but you don't see anything. And like, there's moments in this movie that are undeniably like creepy, but like, I don't know. I almost wanted to email this reviewer. I'm like, what scene are you talking about? Like, did I watch the same movie? Cause like, again, I enjoyed this film, and I think this film's interesting. I thought that the performance, the lead actress, who I'm not familiar with like at all, I thought she was really good. But again, like, I can't really talk about this since you guys haven't seen it, but like, I'd be interested to hear anybody else's thoughts on this movie, because like, I kind of left it feeling a little empty. I felt like the ending was it buttoned things up a little too easily. And if the point of the movie is like, don't obsess over things because it'll ruin your life, that's like really shallow. But I kind of think that's what the movie is about. And I don't know. It was a little, I kind of wish I went into it without reading anything about the movie, and I wonder if I'd feel differently about it. But again, not bad at all. And a very interesting like setup and premise, but like, I don't know, execution for me personally left a little to be desired. I feel like I need to rewatch it. But again, that is my Gogsism, because I feel like I missed something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I need to read
But there has to be more to this, right?
I feel like I need to read the compendium comic books to understand the movie. I don't know. It's
Well, it
weird.
sounds like
right?
in this case you actually can.
What do you? Oh, right. No, they're not related. But yeah, I don't know. Red Rooms is interesting, and maybe I'm just a big idiot and I missed the big overlying point of the movie. But like, I don't know. It left something to be desired. But that's all I watched. Sean.
I've watched TV series.
Hell
Real
yeah.
quick, I watched Tires. I think a couple people talked about it already.
I just finished that. Yeah, I love that shit.
I love it too, but it's exactly what I hoped it would be. Like, and that guy the Shane Gillis' partner does look like he was born a 30-year-old baby. He's like a deeply, physically unappealing man.
That guy has one of the weirdest faces I've ever seen. Like, that guy. But I watched that shit with my mom, believe it or not.
Yeah. It's a good all-around show. You know what I mean? It's not like I don't want to say Tim and Eric because we use that example a lot, or a Frisky Dingo or something where it's like, okay, 5 people are going to get this. Like, it's everybody can get it.
It's very broad. But
it doesn't stick around too long though, which is good.
No.
Plus our Pennsylvania and Maryland like white trash accents are pretty similar.
Yes.
So like it feels like home watching it.
Well, at the end they're going to be bought out by Maryland Tires, and I was like, I wonder where in Pennsylvania this is supposed to be.
So no, I enjoyed it, but I wanted to watch Dinner in America. I just ran out of time.
Yeah, I want to watch that too.
I want to watch.
That was all I watched.
Have you guys seen the ads for that? I think it's an Amazon original. That Brothers movie.
I've seen the promos for it. It looks good. It's got Josh Brolin and
Peter
what's his
Dinklage.
name? Peter Dinklage. Yeah, it looks good.
Do you see who it was written by?
No.
Macon Blair.
No. Well, now I definitely want to watch it.
Yeah, I was sort of on the fence. I was like, oh, this kind of looks like fun. And it was like it's either written or directed by Macon Blair. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, Macon Blair.
Wonder if we're ever going to get to see Macon Blair's fucking Toxic Avengers movie. It's finished. They just can't, they haven't found anybody to fucking distribute
Put it on fucking Shudder. Like, why are they fucking around with it?
I know. It doesn't make any sense.
But that was
Peter Dinklage is in that too.
Right. Gogs, did you already go?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, here I went.
So
I'll put that Brothers movie on the Plex because I definitely want to watch it. I had no idea that Macon Blair wrote it. Now I'm really excited.
He wrote it or directed it? Go ahead.
Before we get into what happened in this movie, because I don't know how long we're going to go, because I'm sure some of us want to watch the football game, but I don't know that I have a ton to say about the movie other than the vibes are immaculate. Like, this is a feels movie more than it is a movie for me.
Sean, you weren't in when I said this earlier. When we opened the show, I briefly mentioned this, but I'd like to get your opinion on it. This movie to me is American anime. This is an anime movie. Like, it feels like an anime.
1,000%. Yeah.
The tone, the main characters, the fact that one of them's a cheerleader, like, this feels like a fucking anime.
Yeah, it's like, I'm trying to think of like what's a good high school anime?
There's a lot of them. Well, I don't know,
like
Evangelion.
Well, there you go. It's fucking it's why can't I think? What's the third day? The fucking Bud the Zombie, Dawn of the Dead. Which one is that? The third one?
Bud the
What's it called? Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Day of the Dead by way of Dirty Pair. I'm really reaching for this analogy, but it's like It's got a lot of Carpenter in it too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, I was telling TJ before he joined. It's got because TJ was saying it's like listed as like a horror comedy, but it's more like a fantasy, and it's more akin to Big Trouble in Little China than I think anything else that you can compare it to.
It's all I can think of when they're like, "How are the vibes the Night of the Comet?" It's the fucking the meme with Homelander. Perfect. Every little piece of it was perfect.
and it starred Buck from Kill Bill. He was in it.
And Mary Vernos, that great big tall bitch from Eating Raoul.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, Gogs. He was the projector was Buck.
That was Buck?
Yeah. Remember Buck?
I remember Buck. He likes to fuck.
And then the guy that played Hector, he was on Star Trek Voyager.
Wow.
Like the whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, why do I know that guy? And then I was like, oh yeah, I used to watch Star Trek Voyager.
He was the medical hologram. Robert
Yes.
Picardo. He's
I
been in a
used to
bunch
watch.
of shit.
You know me, I'm not like the biggest Star Trek fan.
He was also in Deep Space Nine because the shows ran concurrently and they had to use that.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Those holograms were like hard light holograms, like danger rooms, and there was a whole planet of them using them as slave labor. And there was a whole episode about whether or not they were
that's ethically
sentient. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's a fun idea, actually.
I don't know why I thought of this, but I always liked the way they treated holograms in Red Dwarf, where you could tell they were holograms because they just had a big plastic H on their forehead because they didn't have any money. Like, I always thought that was hilarious. Red Dwarf, good show. Anyway, guys, I feel like you would love that.
I never watched Red Dwarf.
You should go back and watch it. It's stupid as shit, but it's great. Anyway, guys, what happened in Night of the Comet? Was there a comet?
You know what? There was.
Pause. Even before
Hang on,
you get
Alec. Alec, was your favorite part of Night of the Comet the comet?
The comet. Yes. Yes, it was. Alec's not here. Oh, I don't know if you can't see. I don't know why.
No, I know. That's why I did the bit.
Prepping for the. Oh, sorry. The worst part about this movie is the terrible title card that you can barely read. Why is the title card so bad? I was like, why did they do that? It looks awful. Like, did they not have a title card? And they're like, shit, we got to do something. Like, here, put that up there. Awful. Anyway. Sorry.
Raves Gogs.
So glad I decided to jump in on you just to talk about the title card.
So Night of the Comet, right? Movie opens, and there's going to be a comet, and there's some people that are worried about the comet, but the rest of humanity is not worried about the comet. They are celebrating it. They're ready for it. They can't. This is a big night for them because it's the Night of the Comet.
Sean raised his hand.
Yes, Sean.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. I just thought of this. Actually, I thought of it earlier, but I remembered it. This feels like a goofy, like, teen version of Miracle Mile for some reason, this movie. Like,
I was going to bring that up. I was like, it's like a less sentimental Miracle Mile. Like, it is, like, where Miracle Mile sort of was like, I didn't cry at this movie. I'll put it on Front Street. Miracle Mile fucked me up.
Oh yeah, Miracle Mile.
But, anywho. But I did have the same thoughts. I was like, and I couldn't remember the title. I was like, what was the one where Goose was fucking, they were dealing with the end of the world and it was sad? That's the one. So anyway.
That movie was fucking great.
It's a good one. So it's Comet night and everybody's fucking 6s and 7s about it. Like, they can't wait. They are out in the streets cheering for the comet. They are having comet-based parties. They are selling comet-based headbands. And we are introduced to our protagoni. The first one being
yeah, I like that.
A young lady who works at the movie theater is the movie theater man. Go ahead.
This woman, who's the name of this actress eludes me right now.
She's a 3-name banger. It's like Catherine something.
This lady is like, was like made in a lab for you. Cause this is like the hot version of Susie Colbert. Like
her hair.
It's the Nimrod that fucking Heather Langenkamp came out of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, her master mold or whatever. This is a master mold of 80s chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Death's kiss. So she's there. She's playing Tempest. She's playing the shit out of Tempest.
Dude, Tempest was fucking sick. That was a good game.
2000. Shout out to the Jaguar.
Hell yeah.
So she's playing. She's trying to figure out if this guy DMK, like, how did she beat his score? Like, what the hell is this about?
I love the button on that at the end.
Yeah,
of the
little
movie,
button on that one.
It's so much fun. That's so great.
So then she's like, all right, well, it's Comet night. I'm going to go. Is the manager, is the manager of the movie, he looked familiar as hell. Is he
He
everyone's
did look
somebody?
very familiar. I didn't look him up.
But he's not the dad from Everybody Loves Raymond. That's Peter Boyle, right? This wasn't
Yeah,
Peter
no,
Boyle,
that was not
was
Peter
it?
Boyle.
Okay.
I would recognize
Anyway.
Peter Boyle.
So anywho, she's there and she's got to go clean up the loads or whatever, and then she's got to go take off for Comet night. So she's doing that, and then she goes to hang out with her boyfriend, who's the projectionist, and he's making deals and negotiating a cool extra $10 to get a 3D print to smuggle a 3D print from It Came from Outer Space out into, I guess, whatever Pirate Bay's incipient roots were. He's bootlegging this. And she's like, all right, well, we're going to spend the night waiting to make this deal, and we're going to sleep in the projector booth, and everybody.
Oh, no. They're not going to.
And they're going to make it.
They're going to make it. They say make it. They say make it like 7 times in this movie. It's like, it's so funny to me.
And they do. There's one scene where they're trying to have a conversation. He's like busily doing something behind her, and I'm like, good Lord, sir, settle down.
You know what he's doing.
I'm well aware. So they spend the night in the projection booth and everybody else's party. Then she calls her sister and she's like, hey, cover for me with mom and dad. I'm going to be whatever. And then her sister, who's the little blonde cheerleader, she has a fight with her stepmother, and their father is fighting the Sandinistas in whatever, Panama, because he likes war and war-torn nations. And eventually you're treated to the whole family story. One of those Sandinistas.
Ronald Reagan.
Also,
your legacy is intact.
The sister is like ridiculously cute.
And she's from Chopping Mall.
Yeah,
also another movie where people lock themselves in a non-standard place to make it overnight.
That's true.
just for the thrill of it. So
I love Chopping Mall. That movie fucking rules.
So she gets in a fight after her stepmom like cold cocks her in the face.
Yeah, she really does.
Like she just hauls off. So now the night is had. The night of the comet has happened. The comet has happened. And the next morning, everybody's like, oh, man, the guy never came to buy my videotape. I better go do my motorcycle about it. So he leaves, and he goes to the back door. He leaves. What's her name? There's a bit of a discussion about whether she's, whether they're paying for sex or not, and how much that would be worth.
Also, there was, we forgot to mention, it is important to the plot. The projectionist says that no one can hear them because the walls are reinforced with steel, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I, as someone in the construction industry, I have thoughts on several of the salient plot points about construction and what would protect you from this comet, but that's fine. So now so dude goes outside, he gets pipe wrenched in the head by a zombie. And then that's that. Then she's like, I better go find Steve. And she goes to try and find Steve. And she goes outside. She gets locked out of the movie theater. She's like, man, everything's so dusty and red and what's going on? And she can't find dude. Then the zombie finds her, but the zombie can talk. So it's not like a zombie in the classic zombie sense.
No, yeah.
But there's like just piles of clothing, like just sitting around.
People
like,
getting raptured.
Yeah, people got like taken away. And then, so now we're introduced, and this is like to TJ's point, where the first of the anime tropes shows up. Like she's like approached by this zombie, and she's like, don't make me hurt you, man. And normally you'd be like, tough talk, right? But then she stands and delivers. Like she
karate chops him and kicks him. It's awesome.
Yeah, like she ends dude, and it's like, okay, that's cool, that's fun. And then she ends up taking, she took the motorcycle to her house, where she finds her sister. Her sister's like, I'm going to the pep rally now. And she's all in her cute little, like,
also like there was like a cookout outside, and there's just like orange dust everywhere.
Dust and pumps.
And clothes.
And just like, that's it.
It's like
and so the sister's like getting ready to like, and you're treated in the middle to like the automation of the world. Like the radios have come on and the pumps have come on. Like, so the world is kind of alive while it's not alive. Like it is all the traits of being like alive. Like things are happening, like wacky waving arm inflatable tube.
This comet causes fucking the rapture of The Walking Dead and Maximum Overdrive at the same time.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
So now they're out and about, and they're like, well, listen, there's nobody left. Like, everyone's dust. We got to figure out what's doing. And, like, the blonde sister's like, I don't know. I'm like, no, let's just go figure it out. Like, the radio's still radioing, so let's go check out the radio station. So they go to the radio station. And that's when I text everybody the meme
Did
from
anybody
The
else
Simpsons.
think of Fallout 3 when it was like the first thing to do is go to the radio station? I always thought of like the three dog mission. Yeah.
So now they're at the radio station and they realize the thing's automated. Don't praise the machine. And they meet the third protagonist, Hector, and he's sitting in wait in the radio station with a pistol because he had the same idea. And everybody's like, yo, what's the deal? And everybody's like, yo, whatever happened, we all slept in steel last night. Like the little sister slept in like the garden shed. And like, let me tell you something. We're talking about mere microns of metal. Like we're not talking like she's not their shed unless there was some plot conceit I missed where their father built some sort of fallout bunker to store their weed whacker.
Shadow Moses.
Yeah, like so she slept in steel, so she's okay. The sister slept in the lead line projector booth where they have a whole conversation about what Superman can and cannot see through, and they kind of come up with this steel thing. And Hector slept in his car, and I guess his car is just a steel box without windows because otherwise, what are we doing? He talks about how
if it was a trailer he's hauling, those don't necessarily have windows.
Yeah, maybe that's it. He came to town with some lady, and she freaked out and said she got eaten the worst way possible, not the fun way like you like, by zombies. So now you're cross-cutting back to the underground bunker, which gave me like sort of a Boy and His Dog underground vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
And like, so there's a group of scientists. And they're like, I don't know, we should go. And
the fucking scientists in this movie are so fucking arch, though. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, no, but at the beginning they're not. Like, I didn't know what was coming.
Well, not because, right. But eventually,
right? Like, so in the beginning. In the beginning, we got
to take all the blood from these kids.
Well, at the end, yes, but like in the beginning, they're like, "Look, they're survivors. We gotta go save them." And then the one like Ellen Ripley's like, "We're not bringing anyone back to this." Like, and you're like, "What is this bitch doing? Why is she wet blanketing all this?"
Right.
And later, you find out that she's the only one that's a decent human being because I'll just jump to it. Spoiler alert. The scientists aren't trying to save people. The scientists realized they screwed the pooch and left the window open on their bunker. And then they got like slow gassed with everyone else. So they are going to slowly turn into either dust or zombies. I'm still a little lost on how it works. So Hector's like, I gotta go see my mom. And then the girls are like, well, we're going to go get a bunch of pistols, have a shoot 'em up on a car to refresh our muscle memory for weaponeering. Because our dad taught us to be badasses, like
Sean raised his hand.
Yes, Sean.
How it works or what the functions of same are totally irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. Because the amount of zombies encountered, kind of few, given the number of
there's literally like a handful
6
of zombies.
So anywho, so the girls they're out shooting cars, and Hector goes to see his mom and realizes she got turned to dust. He grabs his old bowling trophy and he tries to have a moment, and then he gets attacked by Timmy. And then he's like, well, fuck it. I'm going to get in this like street rod and go back to the ladies. The girls are like, well, look, it's the end of the world. Let's have a shopping spree. So like, let's just go to the mall. But before they go to the mall, there is an incredibly touching scene where they're having a conversation on the hood of the car, and they're talking about like, it's like the younger one especially is kind of coming to grips with like the fact that this is it. It's like, there's this cute boy in my class. He just transferred. I think he was going to ask me out, and so-and-so thought it was, so-and-so said he thought I was cute, and she was all stressed out about this exam, but, I guess she dodged that bullet. Like, she's kind of like half-hearted, like, but she's like genuine. You can tell she's like,
she's kind of broken up about it. Yeah, of course.
Like, it's all like sort of setting in. Like, it's a really good scene. Then they go to the mall. They have like, there's literally like a shopping and prettied up montage a la Pretty Woman in every other movie you've ever seen where people go shopping. And then you are treated to the mall zombie toughs.
Oh my God.
Kind of like
these fucking guys.
They're like armed to the teeth, and they're not like, well, I guess you don't know they're zombies at first. You just think they're just like marauders, but they're like the 80s answer to like a 50s like street gang. Like if they just broken out into like 5-part harmony, that would have been also appropriate. And there's a shootout with the girls in the mall. The girls are handling business, but they eventually get caught. They get brought into the back of the mall where they're tied up on a forklift. And then now the secret government bunker people have shown up, and they're gonna look for survivors. And they just made a snap decision, and instead of trying to save as many humans as possible, they just pray and sprayed these dudes just to oblivion.
The amount of gunplay in this movie is kind of astounding considering the setup of it.
Love you, pal.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, also like the like head mall, like the head department store guy. I don't know, that dude. That guy rocks. I don't know what else that guy's ever done in his life, but he fucking rules in this movie. I love him.
He's like,
and then he takes his glasses off, and they're all like hollow. His eyes are all hollowed out. I fucking love that shit.
So anywho,
it's like, how about this, ladies?
Yeah, he's like I'm saying, he's like a weird like greaser zombie man.
I love it.
He's like rockabilly almost. So now the government is like, all right, well, we're going to test you two and see who's what and what have you. And so they do. And they're like, the woman scientist does a blood test on him. She's like, all right, she's clean. She's not. And she basically sends the older sister back to the base. She's like, we'll send your little sister afterwards. And then she, euthanizes the little sister because she's got the juice and they don't want it. So you're like, God damn, that's
legitimately cold. I mean, I've seen this movie before, but legitimately upset that they killed the little sister. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, for sure. You don't expect it the tone is all over the place in like the best way.
Yeah.
It's like sinister funny. I don't know how to describe it, but.
Well, at this point, I'm still like a little, you don't know what everyone's motivations are yet, right? So you're kind of like, well, why? Right? And then there's a shootout between that scientist and the lackey that was like left to mind her. And this is when you find out that the people that you thought were maybe the good guys, that they were trying to carry on with the arc that was trying to carry on humanity. This is where the reveal happens that, oh no, they screwed up and they need to develop a serum to save their own asses. This is all revealed to Hector, who shows back up to like the one scientist got shot in the neck, and then the other woman's like, she's getting forgetful and smoking cigarettes and doing whatever. And then she, gives herself the last ride, and he's like, all right, well, I guess I got to go to the base.
I know what you meant, but I just thought of the Undertaker's power bomb.
Yeah. So he goes to he stops by, a Western Leathers store, and then he goes to the base. Meanwhile, back at the base, we're asking the older sister if she's had hepatitis or syphilis or any other bloodborne disease. Shout out bloodborne. And
oh yeah, bloodborne.
She's actually really funny in this scene, the sister.
Yeah. So she answers all the questions. She's like, what's going on? It's like, hey, I have to tell you about your sister she's dead. She was going to die anyway. So, well, fuck you. And then
that guy's delivery of this is fucking hilarious. Cause he's like, your sister's dead. She was going to die anyway. He's like, he's got like the line delivery of like Brock Lesnar. It's so bad, but it's awesome at the same time.
And there's two children that they found that are both in their bathrobes, both like in pajamas, both holding animals, and I don't know any other way to say this. They are racially dissimilar, so it's like, did you get two different children out of their bed, or are they brothers and sisters through some sort of adoption situation, or were they part of an orphanage? How did you find these two in the exact same condition? But whatever. These kids are going to get milked because they just need sweet, sweet, untainted blood. They need that non-vaxxed blood so they can carry on the race of scientist people. The sister is revealed to learn all this. She uses her Metal Gear Solid exfiltration skills and breaks her way out of being captured in this base. Hector shows up. He strong arms the one guard that's guarding the front of the base, like their secret base, very well known.
Yeah.
And now it's revealed, and now it's like kind of nice. It's revealed that the sister was actually just given like sleeping serum or something to make her seem
pentothal or something.
Sodium pentothal assault was.
That's
I thought that was
truth
serum, but
yeah,
that's what they say. So anyway, so she's alive. Hector's alive. Hector is rigging up improvised explosive devices all over the place.
Yeah, he straight up blows up the two scientists in their van.
So, and then now meanwhile, all the scientists in the building are like they're like Tyrone Biggins. Their blood is itching, and they're like, we gotta get the blood out of these kids. And they don't. So there's this silly scene, and the more I dwell on you calling this an just a live action anime, the more it's true, because there's a scene where these two doctors are getting ready to make these two children brain dead.
Yeah.
And then take all of their blood forever. And they're just having a lark about it.
They're having a great time about it.
They have no scruples about this. Right?
No.
Yeah, okay, well, why not? Meanwhile, so then the what's her name? Why can't I think of what the main character's name is actually? It's not like Debbie, but it's like something like that. She comes in, she saves the two kids. You're like, you're not milking these kids. And then she laughing gasses these two doctors to oblivion. She's working on escaping. Meanwhile, Hector and the other daughter the other sister have sabotaged the generators to this building, and she's like just skipping. It's almost Hit Girl-esque. Like she's just sort of skipping her way through this building without a care in the world. They rescue everyone. The scientists try and get them. The scientists all explode, and then they go to town, and everyone's good. They're just like, they're fine. We are the keepers of humanity, so we are going to do normal things. We are not going to cross.
We're going to dress up in our Sunday finest
to take pictures. And then I laughed out loud. It's like, we don't cross the street until it says we can cross the street.
Yeah.
And you're like, and I'm sitting there like, that is insane. Like, that is
because they're all insane at this point. Like, it's
but like, they're trying to be this nuclear family. And then once there's like, what are you talking about? There's not a car for
also,
states.
Did this not lead you to believe that she was going to run over by
I thought she was going to get...
It ends in such an insane note, and like I don't know if you're supposed to mean that they're like psychically broken, or like it almost ends like in a Brazil kind of like. Did they get Braziled? Are we watching this through somebody's like fucking coma?
Yeah. Also, she gets picked up by this other guy that just hasn't been around.
Well, so she I thought she would get pancaked by a truck, right?
Of course, yeah.
And then this guy comes flying around the corner. I must also admit that the little sister is super boy crazy, and she's like jealous of her sister being like maybe attracted to Hector, and Hector's like the last boy on earth, and this girl just wants to be with a boy. So then
there is a funny part earlier in the movie where it's like maybe Hector's gay.
And then like how bad would that be for Hector? So anywho, then this dude shows up in like a Mercedes drop top. And she's like, I love your car. I was like, oh, that's good. I got 37 of them.
Yeah. And she is just ready to bone, like right then and there.
Oh, no doubt. Wouldn't you be?
Get a pop. Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
So-
I'm kind of always. Well, that's not true.
Right.
So then
I need it now.
he drives off with him into the sunset, and then you see that his license plate, and I guess it's, oh no, he introduces us, it's like David
Yeah.
Macon Canby or something.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
either one of several things. First of all, that's the name that was better at Tempest, right?
Yeah.
So one of several things is either true. Either this is all in their heads like Brazil, which I did not think of till just now, or this kid is legitimately whipping around in a Mercedes with custom tags, or he acquired a Mercedes because the end of the world, you can have whatever you want, and he went
changed
to the
the
trouble to
tags.
either find the tags or already had the tags. And then
Like,
I like
upset.
I like the idea that he went to like the MVA and was
And
like,
stamped it out himself.
So, right.
Like post-apocalypse.
And so then
Like,
they drive off,
re-
and then it leaves with the rest of them just playing football in the streets.
Okay.
And
Did anybody else think of The Room?
The
When
Room?
It ended.
Yeah, of course.
It ended with the football because I was like,
Right.
that was so weird. I wonder if Tommy Wiseau saw this movie.
I'm
then just-
really good at
literally
King
the
of
credits
Fighters,
roll as
right?
they're throwing football.
Like I'm
What's
really
that?
good
Yeah.
at King of Fighters. I don't think that I would
Oh,
ever
yeah.
like get my license plate to reflect same. Like that is a level of
Oh.
like
That shit would
Fucking-
be awesome though.
I mean, it was just
No,
his initials.
if you did though, that'd be sick as hell.
Like, I mean, it's just his initials. It has nothing necessarily to do with his Tempest prowess, but it could
I
have.
feel like
I mean,
they
it
are
could
intrinsically linked.
I mean, in the sense that his name did it because that's him.
Well, no, but he wants everybody to know that he is also the Tempest guy. Like I like to think he's going around all over the state,
All the
Possibly.
rest of like, all the
high
rest of the
scoring every
survivors.
Tempest machine.
Oh,
yeah.
like that's
I
the
like-
B
I
plot
like-
that we didn't get to see.
I really like.
Like, there's a whole
Sean's
side movie
I
of
like
that
Sean's
guy just-
idea
yeah.
better. Yeah.
It's just tempesting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's the movie, and that just ends, and you're like,
Dogs, had you seen this movie prior?
no, I'd never seen this movie.
Oh, that is.
That's my
I'm glad.
It's a first time viewing for me.
It's a shame.
is a
Alec's
Dogs
not here,
movie.
'cause I would
It's a
love to
treat.
know.
It's
I would love
great.
to know what Alec thought of this movie.
I feel like he would have thought the middle was very boring. But he also loves quiet apocalypse movies, and this is,
Yeah.
weirdly
And-
enough,
and-
a quiet apocalypse.
When it's quiet, it's very quiet,
And the movie
and then it
is
goes
like
real
the
loud.
movie is like pretty like it's not like dark really. It's pretty
No,
optimistic.
it's not like
and silly.
Super mean. I mean, parts of it a little bit, but this
No,
is
but
again.
it's
I know we
as
talk
upbeat as this can be.
about this a lot. It's very janky in a way that movies are not anymore. Like I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know how
absolutely.
you would make this movie right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree completely.
This movie is just littered with ideas, and
This is like when
put
you
'em
see like a Stranger Things and it's like aping this, but never really gets there. You know what I mean? Like this is there. Like I don't know why it's so ethereal. Maybe it can't be divorced from the time period, but like
Yeah.
things approach this, but never make it. Vibes wise, and
Yeah.
I'm saying vibes a lot, but
Yeah, me too. All right.
I mean,
5
bring
knuckle
back
shuffle
big
time.
hair, please. Anyone like how do we get in front of whatever
give me
all
some
women?
big hair and
just
some
say,
tall butts.
That's
Oh,
all,
yeah.
and shoulder pads. Bring it back. Bring it back.
All right.
All right.
Anything good.
5 knuckle shuffle time. Gogs.
That's a 9 for me.
Yep. Correct.
I really enjoyed it. It's unlike almost anything I've ever seen. I don't know.
But exactly like 30 other things you've seen put together.
Right. But like, yeah, like it's, I'm going to make, I hope this lands and it might work with certain members of our audience. So I've become very steeped in Warhammer things now. The race of orcs in Warhammer, things work because they believe them to. They shouldn't work.
Oh yeah, they don't
put
understand the science
They don't
or
understand
anything.
the science
yeah.
behind it. They just they glue a rock to a stick. They say it's a gun, and God damn it if it's not. That is somehow this movie. Like it is this interesting hodgepodge.
The movie is held
of
together
things.
by the collective belief of the audience.
Yeah, like it is the movie wants to work and desires to work, so it works. Like it's super strange. The tone is it's not a dark tone, but it's a very dark subject. And even the dark parts of it are done with some degree of like such degrees of levity, but not like malice. I don't know. It's something special, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it. And it's like a zombie movie with barely any zombies. The Comet's powers are undefined.
Right.
You don't know what's happening to these children for the rest of their either long or short. Like, I don't know if they're going to rot or not. I
I
don't know
assume
if
they're
metal
dying of
was the
cancer.
answer. Right. They're going to
Yeah.
just go, but like they're okay with it maybe. But
Also,
like,
there's no, well, they're in the city, but you don't know what happened to like animals and shit. So, you know
right.
what I mean?
Like, yeah, that's a good point. You never see animals or any other life, like, and eventually, like, the systems that are all automated, the power, everything's going to crumble around them. So they better get a degree in nuclear engineering or get real good at rubbing sticks together. So, but in the moment, good times. We're having a good time. So, yeah, it's a 9. I really enjoyed it. I'm happy to have seen it. TJ.
It's also a 9 for me, dog. I love this movie. It's a lot of fun. It is, I think we've said this before too, but like a lot of people talk about like 80s movies and like they don't bring this up, but this to me is like, this is the kind of 80s movies that I like. You know what I mean? Like
80s. Yeah.
this is like, it is impossibly silly. Like it's a movie, like Sean said, it would never ever get made in any other decade. It is genre mashing. And it's
genre maxing.
Yeah, it's
genre min-maxing.
But it's great. It's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of different things. And it's wholly unique. Like there's not really anything else like it. Again, it feels oddly like fucking anime, and I mean that in the most sincere, and I mean that as a huge compliment. I would love to actually see this get animated, or like I could see this as like a Scott Pilgrim style like animated movie. Like it would be great.
Oh yeah.
No, I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. It's like it's also like, in spite of all of its weirdness, it's like incredibly watchable because the two leads are like a lot of fun and they're very charismatic and they're also like genuinely funny. Like I don't know, it's a great movie. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it's a 9 for me, dog. Sean.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 9 for me too. I've seen this movie like 30 times, and it gets a little bit slow. I can see why people wouldn't like it, but I'm sure I've referenced this at some point. There's a quote about helicopters that I like that I just kind of like misquote all the time, but it's something to the effect of like a helicopter is a collection of parts all going in different directions in spite of God's will, something like that. Like, that's this movie. It is all over the fucking shop. It doesn't know exactly what kind of movie it's going to be, but like God said, it just gets there through the belief that this is a movie and this is how stories work, even though they really don't.
Right.
It's 5 different genres. It's like 3 different disaster genres and at least 2 different apocalyptic genres. It's the comet. Like, they get to the comet right away, but you're not really sure what the comet does, but who gives a fuck? Because it's a movie about like relationships.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, besides Reagan and Thatcher, like there were some good things that happened in the 80s, and it's just, I don't know what happened to us. I don't know if it's just because storytelling and like shit got refined more. But it's just
stuff has to be. I think we've talked about this a lot. Like stuff is just so safe now. Like you can't make this.
Everything has to be marketed. Everything has to be optimized. Like it's going to make $1 billion, and it's just.
But even a movie like I know Gogs didn't see it, but like a movie TJ I love, like what is it? I saw the TV Glow. It's weird. It has a lot of shit on its mind, but it has a narrative propulsion that makes sense. Like things are tied together. And it's like, okay, this is where we're going with this movie. And like, I'm never really sure where this movie's going, even though I've seen it a bunch of times. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fucking mall movie, and then it's Akira, and it's like, what the fuck are we making?
Yeah.
Like, so I love this movie. It is wholly unique and incredibly derivative. It's as luxurious as it is dilapidated.
All right. Well, we have one more week of Scary Movie October, don't we? So everybody's gone, right?
I have not. I have not.
I thought you already went.
No, I was gonna.
Even better.
I said Cuckoo last week, but you had already seen it, so I'm trying to figure out what to. Oh wait, I know what I wanted to watch, and I don't know if you're going to be able to do it or not. So I have a challenge for you, TJ. I have a challenge, dear reader.
All right.
There's a movie. It's a made-for-TV movie.
We're already getting in dicey waters, but okay.
I know, so that's why I'm a little worried.
Dicey.
That I watched when I was like, right. I watched part of it.
What's
I think
it
when I
called?
was a kid. It is called, and I
Trilogy of
looked it up.
Terror? Is that what you're about to tell me?
No, god damn it. I took a screenshot of the fucking thing.
Was it about a kid that finds an alien weapon in the desert in Arizona and kills his abusive dad?
Nope, it's not
What?
that.
Oh my god,
Okay.
that sounds amazing.
Oh, it is. No, it is called, it is 1982's
Yes,
Don't Go to Sleep.
I've heard of that.
It's
Don't?
about Don't Go to Sleep. It is a made-for-TV horror movie that I remember somehow catching glimpses of when I was a kid, and it's one of those things where the what visuals remain have hung with me for the rest of my life.
Do you have a backup if I can't find this? TV movies are kind of hard to
I
find.
know. I'm sure it's hard to find. So
Oh, wait. Hold on. I might have already found it.
Okay.
Don't Go to Sleep, 1980. It is on YouTube. Completely on YouTube.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't know if it's any good or not. I just remember parts of it.
There is a YouTube channel called Made for TV Movies.
Nice.
This movie was produced by Unicorn Video Incorporated.
Well, I know what next May's theme is.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, so it's on YouTube. So I can actually probably download this and put it on the Plex. So everybody can, so it'd be easier to watch. Okay, yeah, we got it. No problem.
It may be a real piece of shit, but
You said it was 82, right?
1982.
Is it starring Valerie Harper and Ruth Gordon? Does that sound right? I mean, I can't imagine there'd be two.
Valerie
It is
Harper,
starring the year
yes.
1982.
Yeah. And it's directed by Richard Lang, featuring Dennis Weaver, Valerie Harper, Ruth Gordon, Robert Weber, and some kids. Some jagoff, right?
And this looks, man, it looks like somebody fucking taped this off of TV. Yikes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if if it's bad transfer, if we can't like watch it, then I'll come up with something else.
I mean, we can watch it. It just doesn't look great, but
Well,
I'll get it. Don't worry.
I apologize in advance, but I just want to know.
It's fine.
I want to see if I
it.
remember. It's hung with me. It's one of those things where you're like, and the only way I could find the title was by putting in the words to Google of the things that I kind of remember. And they're like,
well, you found it. I'm impressed by
nailed
that.
it.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't want to give away the words that got me there, and we can talk about it next week when we watch it. But it's
Gaping butthole.
Yeah, I mean that yields more results than you would expect. But anywho, yeah, Don't Go to Sleep. 1982's Don't Go to Sleep, which was probably on like, I don't know, NBC or something.
ABC.
ABC's Don't Go to Sleep.
Back in the day, like I'll go because we're trying to watch the thing, but like 70s and 80s made for TV movies, especially the ones about nuclear holocaust, are all fucking horrifying. Like, what were they doing?
Well, you ever seen that movie? I mean, it was BBC.
The Day After Tomorrow?
No, Threads. You ever seen that fucking movie?
No, I've heard of it.
Oh my god, Threads is insane. But that was a TV movie. All right, everybody. Well, that's the show. Tune in next week for Don't Go to Sleep, and I usually don't anyway because this is in 360p.
You never sleep because sleep is the cousin of death.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
I'm gonna see if I can find a higher quality version of this. Anyway.
All right.
All right.
Bye,
Talk to you guys later. Bye bye. Eat your own ass.
Hell yeah.
All right.